It's showtime.
BS and Beer Media in association with STWF TV, the podcasting network. We present to you BS and Bourbon. And now here's Craig and Dale.
Yes, indeed, and welcome to BS and Bourbon, part of the BS and Beer family. Come for the bourbon, leave for our takes, mostly. With me is the star of Frenemies podcast, the linchpin of our entire network. Say hello to Dale, aka Little Dice. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Craig? What's up, man? We are here. We're talking Saints. And we're still waiting on things to happen. But, you know, the season's over, so figured get on here. We talk some stuff about the Saints, talk about some bourbon. Yeah, man, let's get started with this thing, man. So today, Craig, I have got some peanut butter. I'm sorry, not peanut butter. Peppermint.
Those are very different things, Dale.
I got them both in the kitchen, which is why But yeah, peppermint bourbon here from Bird Dog. It's
I like Bird Dog.
Yeah, it's really festive. Yesterday I was on the Parlay Perspective with STWF TV, and I had a little bit of this with some apple cider mixed in. It was really delightful. So
Classy.
Yeah. What about you, man? What you got today?
All right, so I'm pulling a Dale, and I'm drinking the wrong thing for the show I'm on. So I'm on BS and Bourbon, and instead of having a bourbon on a BS and beer, I'm having a beer on BS and Bourbon.
There you go.
I've got myself about 5 Miller Lights lined up over here because this whole topic today is just going to kick my butt. But just to keep pace with it, I also have one of my last few Arrogant Bastard Ales, which of course is my favorite beer in the world. Any listener should know by now. So I'm going to have a good little beer. It tastes good and looks good and sounds good too.
There we go.
And I'm gonna keep pace with the Miller Lights along with it so that I don't rush through my good beer too quick, because this is the kind of stuff we're going to talk about today that will make you want to drink.
So I noticed though you're drinking Miller Lite and not Bud Light.
Yeah, that's real brand loyalty. You know, you see the cardboard box has the Saints on it when you buy the Miller Lite. So that's why I'm not drinking Bud Light, and I'm sure there's no other ulterior motive whatsoever, political or otherwise. Probably nothing there. Maybe don't read too much into it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Craig. Well, one of the first news items I want to talk about is Pete Carmichael.
Who?
That's right, Pete Carmichael. He's going to the Broncos. What do you think about that, Craig?
I think it's the least surprising move in the history of anything ever.
Right.
I mean, we thought this would happen a couple of years ago. It's amazing that he stuck around as long as he did. I mean, he's always been a X's and O's strategist that needs an actual offensive coordinator, aka Sean Payton, to make his stuff work. So it always made sense he was going to follow him there. I'm amazed it took this long. And they'll probably be pretty successful. They work well together. It'll probably be a good little marriage. I'm happy he's gone, but it doesn't mean that I don't appreciate what they accomplished while he was here.
Yeah.
Even if I do attribute it to Sean Payton and Drew Brees, mostly Drew Brees.
Well, all the stuff I've been hearing is he's like the whiz kid that finds this, one play that, we need to run. And he was staying up all night. He found it and they ran it on whatever Sunday it was, and boom, it was successful because Pete Carmichael stayed up and he found this stuff. So
yeah, and then when you're the actual offensive coordinator to a defensive-minded head coach who cannot dictate that stuff for you, you run out there and you are last in the league in play action and last in the league in motion and bad offense until you come around late in the year. When you got guys on the couch like me who haven't I mean, I'm an offensive lineman. What am I talking know about play calling, right? And if I'm over there dictating, oh, well, they're going to do this on first down. Okay, yep. Well, they didn't get any yards. So they're going to do this on second down. And then they do that same thing. The defensive coordinator that they're playing is going to know a lot more than I do. It's ridiculous. I mean, it was just so formulaic. It was so boring and bland. That was the worst part of the Saints this year. It wasn't that they were bad, because they really weren't. They won more games than they lost. It was that they were boring. And the offense was a big part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. But so I want to kind of go back to something you just said. You're saying an offensive lineman can't call plays?
I'm saying that most don't. How about that?
I mean,
speaking of offensive linemen, congratulations to the best part of our O-line this year, Aaron McCoy being named to the Pro Bowl. He deserves it.
Yeah, that's a good little segue there, Craig. Eric McCoy going to the Pro Bowl. Is this an achievement, or is this, it gets down to that and then you get the call?
Well, Baker Mayfield was also named to the Pro Bowl this week, so
yeah,
everything
exactly.
in perspective. And he had a good year. Look, the Pro Bowl has been a joke for so long. Now that it's the Pro Bowl games, do they even play they don't play a tackle game anymore?
No, they play a flag and
it's just
skill
that's not
competition.
football.
So yeah,
it's just when it was in Hawaii every year, and it was the week after the Super Bowl, so you'd have the teams introduced, and then the last were the Super Bowl champs would come out, that were whichever ones were picked to the Pro Bowl.
Right.
That was a cool event, man. I always talked about going out to Hawaii to see the Pro Bowl. I thought it was going to be a dream experience. And they, just like the NFL does with everything, they've ruined it, made it terrible, and now I'm probably not going to watch.
Well, they brought it to Disney World.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I want to go to Disney World for Disney World. I don't want to go. I want my Hawaiian vacation to go watch a couple of Saints players. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And they've taken that from me.
Yeah.
Along with my will to live.
Well,
Saints fans, right?
We do have DA as a coach, so
Need like a little counter in the corner for every time Dale says something that bums me out.
I mean, listen, no matter the changes we make, that's always going to be the common denominator is DA solo coach. So how far can you go when he's the coach?
Well, I mean, he won more games last year than he ever has, so
yeah,
he's trending up.
There we go. I love that optimism, Craig.
His most ever was 8, and then 9. So next year he'll win 10, and then 11, and we'll just keep riding the DA steady incline until we're Super Bowl champions, right?
Can't go broke making a profit, baby.
I'm just saying. You're saying it's linear progression, man.
Yeah.
LP works until you get an injury or a plateau, and my lifting analogy falls on its face right there, because we're going to get plenty of injuries and aging players and broken salary caps and missed draft picks, and that's what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Because not only do we have DA, but we also have Derek Carr, and the Saints are expecting to restructure his contract pretty soon. How pumped about this are you, Craig?
It's not that I'm pumped. It was always going to happen. The cap hit, to make him, this be his last year, it would have been really expensive. It's going to help the team to get some free agents to get back under the cap, to restructure this. So I don't hate it. But honestly, I'm one of those guys that's going to die on the hill of last year's issues were not Derek Carr's fault. He struggled early when he was working in a system that wasn't made for him. And later in the year, when it was more tailored to what he was good at, he succeeded. He still ended up having a pretty good season. If you look at his stats in a vacuum, they don't look nearly as bad as we feel like they did early on. There were a lot of things that kind of failed in conjunction with each other that magnified a lot of the shortcomings. You talk about the last 6 weeks of the season. The last 6 weeks of the season, he had the best passer rating of any quarterback who played all 6 of those games. So part of it, I think, honestly, when he was still getting, into the flow of the offense is when he got hurt. He came back either too early or played hurt, and it kind of snowballed. And it really wasn't until late in the season that we saw what the offense could have been with Derek Carr. So I don't think he's the problem. I would love to move up in the draft and get a real quarterback, but I don't think that's going to happen. We're married to Carr. We're married to DA. I think I think Carr is good enough to do it. I don't know if DA is good enough. I think Derek Carr can do the job. But we got to help him. You need the play action. You need the stuff that fits his repertoire. Maybe you get a middle of the field guy like his buddy from Vegas, Renfro. Maybe you beef that line up a little bit. There's stuff that can work. So I mean, it's not that I'm stoked about it, but I saw it coming, and I envisioned Carr being the guy for more than just this year anyway. So I'm good with it. Honestly, I'm at peace.
Yeah, I knew this would eventually happen. I didn't want it to happen because
it's either happening now when we think he might still be the guy for a while, or it's happening after next year and it's 6 ghost years. I mean, like, at least we're getting a player out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be those ghost years eventually, but that's my whole problem anyway. Like I like to just, in my opinion, it's a bad deal now because we know the kind of quarterback he is. He is the answer. So I want to get rid of this as soon as possible. I know you can't do it.
But you're stuck on the money thing, and money wise, you're paying him as an average quarterback, and he's an average quarterback. You're getting league value for him.
That's cool.
I'm not in what I'm saying is, like, you're mad about paying for what you got? Like,
yeah, I'm not in anymore. Like I want to get out, and so I want to get out as quickly as possible. It's easy to say
that you want a better player for cheaper, but you got the guy that you can afford, and he's earning what you're paying him. Like, that's what it is. He's playing like an average quarterback, and you're paying him like a pretty average quarterback. It's not like we broke the bank for a bad player. It's kind of what you pay for this.
Yeah, but our salary cap issues make this even worse. Because we don't have much flexibility, and so we're cornered into restructuring his contract so that way we can have a little bit more flexibility in the salary cap to obtain players. But when we obtain players, hopefully we obtain the correct players so that we don't make a bad deal that we want to get.
Yeah, I mean, when we trade Lattimore and Kamara in the next couple of weeks, that's going to free up a little bit of money down the line. So, it's going to move some of that stuff up. The Cam Jordan stuff, DeMario Davis stuff, that's going to be tied to us. I mean, they ain't going anywhere.
Please don't
get rid of that.
Please don't do it.
You can't stretch them out any further. I mean, you're going to get one of those Bobby Bonilla contracts. You're going to get a couple of million a year for 30 years at this rate.
Yes. So,
but I mean, but those big name guys, I mean, what other big names are you paying right now? You got to get Rashid Shaheed on an actual contract, because I think he's only an exclusive rights free agent right now. So you have to actually pay him. But Olave's on a rookie deal. Miller, whether he's good or not, he's on a rookie deal right now. So you've got some guys on offense that you don't really have to break the bank for, which means once you get onto the cap, you can spend some money on a pass rusher, maybe another lineman. Like, you don't have to, go after this kind of top of the market stuff. You can kind of take your lumps on the salary cap while getting back to base level. But part of that is stretching Derek Carr out for a while. You need him to be your starting quarterback for 5 years, basically.
What do you think a guy like Russell Wilson will get next year, coming off of the seasons that he's had?
Oh, too much.
Okay,
too much for sure. He'll get lauded as, well, he's the Super Bowl MVP, and he was just in a bad system, and they did him dirty. All of which is accurate, but Atlanta's going to pay him way too much money, and that team is going to fall apart at the seams. I can't wait for it.
So you think for sure he'll go to Atlanta?
No, not for sure, but yeah, I think there's a good chance of it. I could see that. I could see maybe Minnesota if that Kirk Cousins kind of relationship can't be saved.
Yeah,
I could see him in Minnesota.
Okay. Because I mean, I'm wondering, like, when a guy like him signs, and then we compare it to the Derek Carr contract, what would it look like?
I mean, it's tough, it's a different season, so there's a different, bunch of guys it's competing with.
Right.
The market's different, so I mean, it's never going to be a 1-to-1. But yeah, it's going to be comparable in probably the years. They're pretty similar in age, I believe. So I mean, there's going to be stuff to that.
Yeah, let's see. I'm sorry. Carr, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this
Wilson
is making me drink.
Is about, what is he, 40?
He's not 40.
No, I'm sorry. He's 36.
Okay. Well, so Carr's younger.
Mm-hmm.
What's Carr? 34? 35?
Let me see. Carr. He is. Come on.
This is the
32.
stuff you tune in for, guys. 32.
32.
That's not old. Okay, so there's a bigger gap there.
Mhm.
He's obviously had a lot less success. You know, he hasn't had the kind of stuff happen in his career that Wilson has, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's comparable. There's going to be conversations about that.
Okay. All right. The Saints have interviewed Clint Kubiak. He's a passing game coordinator for the 49ers. And they've also interviewed Brian Greasy, who's a quarterback coach for the 49ers. So does it concern you that we are interviewing guys who haven't called plays this past season?
I mean, not really.
Okay.
I'm used to Pete Carmichael calling plays, so
Mhm.
no. No, I'm not. And he's called plays before, so no. No, I mean you want fresh blood. That's what everyone's been saying. You don't want to retread. You don't want Ronald Curry, who's already been in the building. You don't want Chucky, who's been out of the game for a few years and also is kind of a creep. So what do you want? You want new and exciting, and you want what's happening in San Francisco. You want what's happening with McVay's tree, and and to me, Kubiak and Greasy are the obvious, rising stars in that kind of lineage. It's the next step. This is revolutionary stuff that they do with their weapons in San Francisco. I want all of that.
Yes. I've been.
You see Debo Samuel getting these, sweep plays that go for 20 yards every time, and I want to see Shaheed on some of those plays getting downfield. I want to see all that. So I mean, it's not a deal breaker that they haven't done it yet. I think they're probably there's a reason they're as highly sought after as they are, and if we could land one of those two guys, I'd be pretty happy about it.
So listen, there's a little bit of a trend going where the NFL is pulling college coaches. The Boston College head coach took the defensive coordinator position from Green Bay. Okay. Now it's not very often at all you hear a head coach leaving for a coordinator position from college to the NFL, but because of the NIL, the constant recruiting, your own roster and new players, transfer portal, all that kind of stuff. And you're seeing Nick Saban retired. Different coaches like this, they're trying to get out of the college game.
Oh yeah, it's a nightmare right now, I imagine.
So this leads me to think, why don't we look at some of these brilliant minds on the offensive side that may be a head coach in college, and let's get those guys in for an interview.
Well, because of the rules regarding NFL guys taking interviews and college guys, lack thereof, they might be doing that. We might be talking to college guys right now, and they just don't have to report it.
You don't have to report for college. You're right.
Absolutely. Right. And if you're in college and you're, with a program that's, trying to recruit and everything like that, you're not going to leak that you're interviewing for this at the job, because it could affect all the guys you're going to come up with, guys who are working with you. It could send a lot of guys to the transfer portal, even if you're only just dipping your toe into seeing what's out there. So it's, I was going to say that was the thing about college coaching. It used to be a king. You had complete control over all these indentured servants that went to your college, and now they all get paychecks. They can all ditch you if you're an asshole. And all these Nick Saban types that are used to being little tyrants, they're all flopping out and heading down to coach the Chargers. Good. Fuck you guys.
Gotta go. So I saw the former LSU defensive line coach, who's now the defensive line coach for the Broncos, right? He was on Jordy Collada's show probably last week or something like that. And they interviewed him, and just listen to him talk. He was like, man, this is a vacation. Like, I don't have to text nobody. I'm not carrying 5 phones with me. It was like, I'm off right now. When we go back into work. But NFL is a more cushy job.
Oh, for sure.
Compared to college. It really is.
For sure. Well, there's only 32 of those teams,
Yeah.
How many colleges are in FBS right now? Like 150?
A ton of them.
Yeah.
So, it's okay. So with Brian Greasy doing the quarterback coaching for the 49ers, you can look at what he's done with Brock Purdy.
I mean, that's what you have to do, right? You
You
took
know?
Mr. Irrelevant, and now people are
Right.
talking about him in the same breath as Joe Montana for some fucking
Exactly.
reason. Like, you can't just say like, oh well, we just happened to hit on this guy. Like, okay, you hit on a guy and he's in the perfect situation that this
Mhm.
guy is made for him. There's no other explanation for it.
Yeah.
The stats and everything like that, the college production. Brock Purdy should not be as good as he is, right? And he's in the Super Bowl again, right? So there's got to be a reason for that, and you got to think the quarterback coach is a huge part of that. My one issue with it is that we don't have a young Brock Purdy. We have an old Derek Carr. Derek Carr is Derek Carr. This is what he does. This is what he's good at. This is what he's bad at. You're not going to mold him into CJ Stroud or something. If you want a guy like that who's going to develop a new quarterback, he's not going to fit with us because we're not in the new quarterback game right now. We're in the win now with this old ass roster game. So that's why I gravitate to a guy like Kubiak. It's going to be easier to implement a new system than it is to change the guys in it.
Yeah.
So to me, Greasy's not my favorite of them. If we were in the quarterback shopping market, he would be my pick. I would want him badly because I want to develop a new guy. The guy from the Texans, I would have liked that. What he did with Stroud and all that.
Right.
So if it was a different situation, if DA was gone, Carr was gone, and we were shopping, for a Jaden Daniels type, I would want the quarterback coach. But I think right now it's not the perfect fit.
Okay. Well, look, I'm not going to be picky because look, I would hire the water boy from San Francisco right now.
The one name people keep talking about, and the name is escaping me right now. It's the offensive coordinator from the Bears, Getsy. Is that his name?
Uh-huh.
So he was not good with the Bears. Their passing offense was, I think, 32nd in the league a couple of years in a row. But is that a Justin Fields thing or is that a Getsy thing? Because the year before that, when he was with the Bears, he had Aaron Rodgers win back-to-back MVPs. So he's in the conversation. His running game is always very good, even with Chicago. I know some of that was Fields. But I wouldn't hate that pick. I know everyone else would because of the Bears stink that's attached to him. But, he's won MVPs with working with Rodgers, and the Bears did get better towards the end of the year. They started running the ball pretty good. I think they were top 5 in the league rushing. So, I mean, you could talk me into that one, I think. I wouldn't love it, but you could talk me into it.
So, let's see. Luke Getsy is his name, if I'm not mistaken. Because I'm not going to give him much credit for what he did with Rodgers. Like, sorry, you can't.
Oh, he's just Rodgers is just special, and you don't need no help.
Right, right. You're not getting much credit for that one. I'm sorry.
No coaching, no help, no vaccines, right, Rodgers? I don't judge.
So I'm trying to pull up his history real quick. So okay, he went Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, second stint with the Packers.
Yeah, he worked under McCarthy with the Packers as quarterback coach, and then when he came back to the Packers, I don't think it was quarterback coach. I think it was one of the coordinator spots.
So yeah, that to me, it's a similar situation as you're hiring another guy who wasn't the play caller because he wasn't the play caller in Green Bay. So he got to be the play caller in Chicago, and you got what you got. With Fields, with all that kind of stuff.
Man, can you imagine if somebody like kept drafting Fields in fantasy football? Could you imagine how that person must feel?
Yeah, I'm not trying to give that guy another chance. Like, no.
Like I said, I know who I want them to get, but I could talk myself into it. Yeah. Hell, if they got Chucky in there, I would talk myself into it. I'm a Saints fan. This is what I do.
Yeah, I mean, look, eventually that's what's going to end up happening with everybody. But
well, I think the perfect situation is you get Kubiak, who's got the pedigree, who's got the experience with that system that you want, the new exciting stuff, and then you bring in like Gruden as just just as assistant, just some kind of senior assistant, whatever bullshit position that people won't get as mad about. And his job is just to make Derek Carr fit into this system. because Derek Carr always struggles in a new system. It took him however many weeks to get into this one we did last year. So if Chucky's whole thing is just making the two work together, cool, fine, awesome. I want the new sexy, hotness offense, and then just get old Derek Carr to work in it.
Okay,
that's my goal. That's my dream signings this year.
That's a plan. That's a plan right there. So
it ain't gonna happen. We're gonna have Ronald Curry because everyone else is either gonna get snatched up or take a different offer. I don't want to be. Twitter and X or whatever you call it is so negative right now.
Yeah,
everyone is so down on everything. It's like, oh, you're not moving fast enough. None of the guys are going to be left. They're taking coordinator spots. They're staying where they are, and
yeah.
Everyone is so quick to panic about shit, and I'm really not as negative as everybody else. I want to see it all play out. I want to see who we get, and I want to see how it works. It's going to take a really long time for me to get down on everything right now. It's the off season, man. Like until we miss out on all of our free agents and we get some draft picks that I don't love, until then, I want to see how it plays out before I start beating up on them.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. I understand what you're saying. So, we'll see what they end up doing. I just hope it's somebody from San Francisco. Anybody from San Francisco. Just tell you, they just know what they're doing out there.
Just some homeless dude shitting on the sidewalk in San Francisco.
That's right.
Just go get someone from that city.
That's right.
don't care.
Please.
What's Nancy Pelosi doing? Just get her down there. She lives in San Francisco, right? Just anyone from the city limits, it's fine.
Exactly. That's all we need. All right, Craig. This is the one that you've been dreading. Let's talk about the good, bad, and ugly from the 2023 season. Oh man. So when we look at it, just looking at the schedule, the results of the games, for me, I guess my highest point was probably look, it came late in the season, and it's beating the freaking Bucks, because I honestly didn't think we were going to do it. We just came off of that stinker of a game against the Rams.
Yeah.
So I thought we were really done for and everything, but credit to DA, he got it together, and they beat the guys who ended up being a division champ. So
despite what that fourth quarter of that game looked like, trying to take some years off my life.
Yeah.
So
what's your good for the year?
So I'll do this whole prompt all the way through. I've got a good, a bad, and an ugly, and I'll run them all through you right here. So my good was the Giants game. That was the game that I went to in person, the only one I got to go this year, and it felt dominant. Like the defense was coming alive. We had 7 sacks. The dome was rocking. When I first got there, they were booing Derek Carr in the intros. Came out of the tunnel to boos, and that sucked. That sucks to see. And by the end of the game, he throws his 3rd touchdown pass. Jimmy Graham has a touchdown, and the vibe shifted from when I got there to when we left. When we left, no one was cursing Derek Carr or anything like that. It was the vibe was totally different. Like to me, that was a huge swing of our season and our how we felt about the team. So that was my good. My good was that Giants game. My bad was the Falcons game after the bye week, because that was the week that I thought that we were gonna okay, we got this, get it all together, and then we got punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
It was so ugly.
Right.
It really wasn't that bad. If you watch the game over again, you're in the red zone constantly. You're moving the ball at will. A couple of things go different in the red zone, and not only do we win that game, we win that game going away. So that was the worst part for me, is that it was such a wind out of the sails kind of thing, because it could have been so great and it just wasn't.
But that's one of the big frustrating things about the entire season.
Yep.
We couldn't cash in when we got into the red zone. We were moving the ball great between
until late in the season, when we became the best team in the NFL at it for some reason.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my ugly, which was week 18 against the Falcons.
Okay.
We're beating the schnozberries out of our hated rival. Everyone is happy. I was literally dancing in the house watching this game. I was having a great time. Everyone is celebrating. Everyone is having a great time. and then we run that fake kneel down for a touchdown, a little dirty, whatever, but it's a punch in the ribs to our rivals.
Yes.
Screw you guys, Falcons. We're just stunting on you now.
Absolutely.
Was that 48 to whatever it was? Beat the crap out of them. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And they managed to ruin that for me by this blubbering coward apologizing to the other team.
Yes.
Well, that's not what we're about. That's not what we do. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. We're petty. We're petty. We don't like you guys. You guys make Katrina jokes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You guys still play rock you like a hurricane at your home games against us. Fuck you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that we beat you by 30 points or what it is. And I hope that we rub the salt in a little bit. I hope that you enjoyed having your season ended while we stomped on your throats.
Yes.
Fuck you guys.
Yes.
And to go out and apologize to them and go, like they wouldn't have done the same damn thing to you if they had the chance.
Stupid Falcons.
Stupid Falcons. So yeah, dude. So Dennis Allen making that a embarrassing, sad ending to the season, which what should have been an absolute exclamation point of, hey, we finished strong, things starting to look up, things are starting to click, we beat the crap out of the guys that we hate, good way to end it, let's have a drink. And instead it's, God damn it, Dennis Allen, you ruin everything.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm gonna say my bad was probably the Rams game. We got like dump truck pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to pick the Rams game as my bad, but to me, it's explainable, because it was a short week. It's across the country, and we had a bunch of injuries. Like I understand that we lost that game, so my expectations were lower, I think, and because my expectations are lower, it didn't feel like as bad.
Well, for me, it was more confirmation. Like we don't belong in the playoffs. Like it's not gonna happen. Like that's
easy, but I don't think that was true though. Okay. I mean, when you look at that matchup, if we had them on a full week, of rest and you're able to scheme for these guys, I think it's a completely different game. I really do think that in the situation we were in, it being such a short week and banged up and everything, I think it really did have a big impact. But we're all wrong. Everything we just said is wrong. The bad of the season was that Green Bay game.
Well, yeah.
Losing that game 17-0 ended up being the pivotal moment of our entire season. So we're all wrong. Go back. Erase this whole. If you're watching it live, just neuralize or flash that shit out of your head.
Yeah.
The bad was blowing a 17-point lead with a quarterback who should not be our quarterback anymore. Can we do a whole show about Jameis Winston and how I went from loving him to needing him fired into the sun in one season?
Oh man. Yeah, but so I'm not going to necessarily just blame that game on him, because if I'm not mistaken, his stats look pretty identical to what Carr's were. Let me pull that.
I mean, but Carr got us into the end zone. He led scoring drives. If Jameis did that once, we win that game.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Jameis sucks, and the whole point, reason you're paying a backup quarterback is so they come in when you're up 17-0 and you don't lose that game.
Yeah.
How many games did he have to come into as an injury replacement? 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He came in 4 times. We won one of those 3, and that one of those 4, and that one was with the kneel down that he actually turned into a handoff, which caused a mutiny and ruined my season. Jameis Winston, even in the game he didn't lose, still ruined everything. I love Jameis. He's so fun. He needs to not be on the team anymore. He deliberately disobeyed the coaching staff. He created a mutiny, and he couldn't finish any of the games he came in. Done. Gone. Sorry. Bye.
Okay.
What's Teddy Bridgewater doing? Can he be my backup?
He's retiring.
Damn it. He can't come out of retirement and be our backup. Some other beloved backup quarterback.
So in that game, Carr went for 103 yards, 1 touchdown, and Jameis went for 101 yards, no touchdowns.
So I feel like there's an important distinction between those two stat lines.
Well, yeah. The touchdown is important.
Kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and definitely the ugly was DA apologizing to Arthur Smith. That's definitely the worst part of the season.
And it was the last part too. So it left that the taste left in your mouth isn't the wonderful taste of some nice pulled pork. No, it's It's the stank ass of apologizing to the Falcons. Fuck
Yeah.
you, DA. Thank you for ruining my entire offseason.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. So, oh yeah. So, I did finish Ahsoka.
Oh, we into the off season talking about shows now. Ahsoka
I
Tano.
will. Let's bring it back.
All right. Go back to our talk about Marvel and Star Wars shit at the end of the show.
That's right. At the end.
I didn't hate it, man. I liked the Mandalorian stuff better, but
Mhm.
it's fine. It's better than that show they did my boy Boba Fett dirty on.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I guess my only issue with the whole thing, well, I don't say the only issue, but first let's talk about the big issue. All right. Zombies in Star Wars. Your
Okay,
feelings on that.
that's cool if you read some of the expanded universe books. All right. There was a whole there was a
Right.
whole zombie arc
Right.
that was pretty dope back in the
Right.
day.
But it's like
if you're not a
every
true nerd, it misses you.
yeah, it seems like every show goes through some kind of zombie phase though.
Yeah.
You know. And so
I thought it was cool. If you're dealing with the Night Sisters and
yeah,
the
nice.
the witches of Dathomir and all that kind of weird, obscure, dude, we are so off the rails for any Saints related content at this point in the show. When you're getting into that weird magic-y stuff, you have to have the zombies. It's just part of that lore, you know. So if you're gonna go that direction, you got to lean into it. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's the show you're watching, man. That's where we're at. That's how they've had one stormtrooper full of one Star Destroyer full of stormtroopers for this entire 30 years since the rebellion, and they're all still alive because they're not, because they're zombies. I get it.
Because they're zombies. Yep. So, but I didn't like how it's not ahead of the well, not ahead, but beyond the first order sort of situation. I thought we were going, forward into the
Past
future.
that.
Yeah,
No, I think
we're
they're
back.
still dancing in that Mandalorian zone, which is after Jedi but before
Right. They're
Force
filling
Awakens.
in this gap now. That's what they
But
do.
I think that's what they're going to do, is they're going to fill that in to where the remnants of the Empire are going to build into what the First Order is. So you're going to see because that was one of the things I hated about the Force Awakens was it was like, oh, so there's just this giant, all-encompassing army and that's in charge, and that no one did anything to stop it from growing out of nothing. It just appeared one day. Like, that's stupid. This is a stupid thing. You're just remaking A New Hope. Okay, you guys are assholes. So if they can kind of explain how to get around that giant logical fallacy, then that'd be great.
Yeah. So they are filling that in nicely, I think.
Nicely.
All of the government just, oh, nothing's gonna happen. It's all good. We already took care of those guys, and now they're coming back and
well, I'm not the kind of person to get in here and complain about government.
Never you. So.
Not me. Government watch list that I'm definitely on.
So what's coming next for Star Wars?
Well, they're making a movie, the Filoni verse kind of. I think it's supposed to be a Mandalorian, Ahsoka, everything crossover kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But I couldn't tell you the release plans on that at the top of my head.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, cool, man. That'll wrap us up, man. We gave you some Star Wars, we gave you some Saints, we gave you some rumors. Look, it's what we do in the off season. There you go.
Off season. We're gonna have more to talk about after the Super Bowl, because that'll probably be when the coordinators and quarterback coaches or whatever in San Francisco get moving.
Yeah.
So that'll be something we're waiting on and watching on. In the meantime, Lisez le bon temps roulé, everybody. It's carnival down here. We're having a good time. I got my shot glass beads going. We're trying to have fun with it.
Tell me about the king cake, man. The king cake.
Oh, I can't. I am a slave to the king cake. I think I've had 4 already.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I got? They had a crawfish stuffed king cake that my wife got us.
Okay.
And that lasted about 35 seconds. So that should tell you something about that king cake. Man, I tell you, king cake is a weakness for me.
Tell me about this crawfish one. Like what was?
So calling it a king cake is generous. It was some round French bread that was stuffed with like a crawfish, kind of like like a tuna salad, but like with crawfish and a little spicy. Oh man, it was good. It was too good. Oh, and the melted cheese over the top too.
Right.
Man, my goodness.
Yeah.
Now I'm hungry. All right. We're gonna get out of here so I can go eat something, because that just made me hungry, this whole conversation.
All right. All right, well, let's go wrap up the show this week. We appreciate everybody joining us, and we're gonna see y'all next week.
Have a drink. It's on us.
Who that?
Remember to follow us on social media at BS and Beer Media. Also, smash the like button on YouTube and share with friends.